And you've just heard Innocent, the latest single by Jeshua, and I'm delighted to be joined by Jeshua now. Hello there, how you doing?
Good, yeah. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. So what can you tell us about Innocent?
Innocence, my first single since April 2021. So yeah, it's a little bit of a comeback. Um, it's the first of more music to come, so I guess it's like an entree of sorts. But yeah, I recorded it myself, and I worked with my friend, co-producer Femi. He helped me produce it as well. So yeah, it came together over the space of like a year or so. Yeah.
So is this precursor to an album or an EP, or what you say you've got more new music on the way?
Yeah. Yeah. I have more music on the way. That's yeah. Yeah. Could well be album.
You're not sure yet, is that what it is? But because
Yeah.
you mentioned there that this is your first release, and I didn't realize it was quite as long as that, but in a few years. And have you been working on this new music in that time? Is that what you've been kind of doing?
Yeah. It's been sort of learning how to produce and write songs and playing about with different ideas and just yeah, it's been a while. It's longer than I thought it was going to be, but it was a fun time. I feel like now I know how to do things better, so hopefully more stuff will come quicker. But yeah, that was like good 2 years of just kind of messing about, I guess, and having fun with it as well. Yeah.
It's interesting you say that because the debut album, Unreliable Narrator, it was well received. People really, including myself, really enjoyed it. You must have been happy with how, for a debut album, about how people kind of responded to it.
Yeah, it was really nice. Everyone has like a different perspective of like what they think it's about or what they like about it, which is really nice. And yeah, yeah, it was cool doing like a vinyl for it and seeing yeah how people responded to it. And I think yeah, people responded well, and I'm proud of it as well. But yeah, I feel like this new stuff is now maybe a bit more ambitious. I wanted to push the boat out a bit more. Be like a bit more grand with things. So yeah.
I think you can hear that on the single, definitely. So was it a case of you kind of thinking, right, I've started making music and releasing music, and I just want to kind of a bit like training for something. I want to kind of learn new things to do and new aspects of it.
Yeah, I think it's reading books about like composition and stuff. Like I got really interested in sort of, I don't know, like soundtracks and stuff like that. Like I don't know, stuff like romantic like 50s soundtracks and like more contemporary stuff, like better like Danny Elfman and stuff like that. And the way these people compose, it's maybe not the same as indie guitar rock, but you can take bits from it, especially if you're using like string sections and stuff. But yeah, I always had like film in mind when I was making this music. Like I wanted to sort of picture it being as like a soundtrack to a film. So you really created like a mood or something like that. So yeah, I guess even things like writing lyrics and stuff. I just enjoy reading books on, how people perceive lyrics.
So it was almost going back and looking at not just the theory of music, but just kind of immersing yourself in new music and things like that, and books and I mean, you say soundtracks. Were you immersing yourself in the films as well? Were you kind of really, just enjoying consuming a lot of different types of art?
Yeah, well, I guess it doesn't need to be art house cinema or anything like that to like have a film soundtrack. It could be like, just any film you see at the cinema. If it gets you into that mood, then yeah, it's great. But yeah, obviously certain moods are cool, but like I guess guitar music or indie rock or pop is like, you know, it kind of varies, you know. It's not just sad, it could be happy or bittersweet. So yeah, just the feeling these things give you, it's really inspiring. It's quite, yeah, fun.
It's because I was going to ask you about things that you've been listening to since you released your last music, and whether that has kind of affected the new stuff. But it sounds like it absolutely has. That was almost part of the process.
Yeah, I discovered a lot of new music just from like learning. Yeah, and just I guess like a lot of pop music in general, like talking about like 50s pop, like uh Nat King Cole or like Connie Francis, you know, like this kind of
Yeah.
like I don't know, it's like popular music, you know, that's always really inspiring as well. How things come together in such a like neat way, but it's, you know, it's been well cooked in the background. But it sounds so simple. Yeah.
That's because, and did you come to find that music yourself, or was it a case of you listened to one thing and then that led to another and that led to another?
Yeah, I guess so. There's always like you watch a film, you hear a soundtrack, or even like popular social media like videos. Sometimes they use like random things like stuff from like 60s films, you know, and you discover it through that, and you know, you realize that this is actually from like a cult movie or something, but you discover it in such a like regular way through like social media and stuff. But yeah, recommendations as well, you know, and playlists on Spotify and stuff. It just suggests you more stuff, and then you could be walking, and yeah, it just immerses you.
I
It's
think it's
cool.
one of the great things about really kind of getting into any, you know, whether it's books or magazines or whatever, is that you get these connections that you might not have got otherwise. And it's really interesting that you mentioned like someone like Connie Francis, because I think listening to your music previously, there's a kind of crooner element to that. There's a kind of, you know, almost like an old soul and when you sing songs. So it really kind of makes sense that you would be drawn to those kind of singers.
Yeah, well, one of my biggest, I don't know if Leonard Cohen's a crooner, but maybe stuff like that. That's massive influence for me. Yeah, for sure. And I've sort of, I didn't grow up listening to that kind of music, but I think maybe when I was like 16, 17, I was like my neighbor introduced me to like a lot of old music, and that kind of like changed my path of the kind of stuff I was listening to. Yeah.
Leonard Cohen's a real, I hadn't thought about it, but Leonard Cohen makes absolute sense in terms of not just the way that you sing your songs, but kind of the content as well. You know, you were saying that pop music doesn't have to be sad, but with Leonard Cohen, there's a real melancholy to nearly everything that he sings. You know, you could feel he could sing the phone book when we used to have phone book,
Yeah.
and he would make it that way.
You tell your uncle you like Leonard Cohen, and he's like, "Oh my God, that wrist slitting material." You know, it's like, yeah, it's not for everyone, you know, but it's yeah. But I mean, I don't want all my music to be like melancholic, or maybe in the future I'll write like happier music because I need to figure out how to do it. Yeah, instead of just what comes out, you know. I would like to make music that's maybe a different subject one day.
So when you're making the new music that you have, do you kind of start to hear what you've been listening to in the new music? Or is it as obvious as that, or does it just kind of happen like a kind of, you know, by osmosis almost?
I wish I wish it could just come out and it would be like what I heard. That would be cool, but no, I feel like it's a lot of like work to make it, you know. I guess there's like, you know, sometimes stuff just bleeds out onto what you do and you like unintentionally rip something off, but it's usually just like this comes out yeah, like osmosis or you know, just like it's not thought too much, you just it
Yeah.
just happens. It just comes out.
And you say you've been working with a producer as well. How does that relationship work?
It's good. I mean, it's
With
not like
music and then get feedback, or is it more involved?
well, the me like me and Femi are like good friends, so we both kind of consider ourselves producers in that
Right.
sense. But then my idea for this new music was I would sort of get a song finished to what I thought was what I could do. And then I would bring in like a friend who's a musician or producer like Femi, the song being Femi, and talking about the song and seeing what they could do to it right in the moment. I wouldn't send them any music until they got into the studio and we listened to it, and I was like, just put down what you think of straight away. So yeah, Femi did the string part on it, and which I thought was a really cool idea and really makes the song like special, I think. But no, it wasn't like Femi, it wasn't like I was trying to get like a hired gun
No.
producers to like just come in and do stuff. It was like collaboration, I guess, try to keep it as like organic as possible like that.
And I guess there has to be a kind of real level of respect and trust in that relationship as well.
Yeah, I mean, but to be honest, before I didn't really entertain the idea of working with other people. I think I was too much of a perfectionist. Uh, but now I kind of really value bringing people in. It's fun, and you learn so much both ways, and it's just a cool way to meet people as well.
And so do you think that kind of almost, I don't want to say relaxing because you're probably not doing that, but just as you see, that level of collaboration has changed you as a musician, made you think differently about what you do?
Absolutely transformed. Yeah, like it completely changed the way I approach music. And I think it's like not for everyone, but it's the key for me. It's like, wow, it really sort of opens doors in a way to like, try new things, or like, yeah, things can change so much. Just introducing someone into a song. It's
And
amazing.
I kind of think of you as a songwriter, maybe primarily, and you've spoken about kind of listening to different sounds and different types of music. How do you approach writing your songs, though? Is that you in a kind of empty page, so to speak, or how do you go about it?
I don't think there's any specific way that I'll like a formula.
Yeah,
It's usually music first, uh, humming sort of lyrics or like vocal melodies, and then lyrics last, I guess. Um, but don't really have like a method. I wish I could just write down loads of things on paper, but I feel like I focus more on the music and the words come after. Uh, yeah, I wish I could prioritize words more. But the music is the melody,
yeah.
etc. is the best thing for me.
It's interesting. I've just got a book of lyrics by the musician Alistair Roberts, a Scottish kind of folk musician Alistair Roberts, and it's made me think, and I think Leonard Cohen maybe did something similar, that you could get the lyrics almost like poetry on the page.
Mhm.
That kind of divides things. I think that's, and I think it would be interesting to read. Do you ever have the lyrics aside, or are they always a part of the song?
Um, they're yeah, I guess they're always sort of glued to the song. Like I have like a sort of verse where I know how many syllables or what will fit into like the lines. So it's sort of like caged in a way, but then maybe I can change it, but I have a solid idea of what will be there. But it's funny you mentioned that I've got the book of the Leonard Cohen poems, and there's lyrics in there as well, and they read out just like poems, and I'm so impressed by that. It's like it's amazing. It's an amazing thing to see that. It's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, no, it is. I mean, he obviously did poetry as well, but I think, when you do read those, it's an amazing thing. And we're talking to you, you're in Helsinki as we speak to you. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think, does your environment change the way that you make music, where you are and kind of what the situation is? Does that affect you?
Definitely. I mean, I haven't wrote any music here, but I got the song got mixed in Finland. I was working with Robin Sutherland, who's like a Scottish mixing and mastering engineer. He lives in the sort of countryside,
Oh,
quite
wow.
north of Helsinki, and I went there to mix the music. And yeah, that was and the production side of things, that was definitely influential. But maybe now visiting this place, it's definitely giving me ideas and stuff like that for sure. Yeah, but Yeah, that music in general is definitely influenced by maybe where I was living, where I was working, what I was doing, the context. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. But because it was over such a long period of time, it's hard to, pinpoint
Yeah.
this is about then. But, I might have songs that are more specific.
No,
But
I know I'm thinking as we're talking about musicians, I know who maybe go specifically to places that I know one that goes to Iceland regularly. I know people now go to spaces in the Outer Hebrides or in the Highlands, just to kind of get some headspace if they're usually in cities, but also I think to kind of get something different as well.
yeah, that's a dream of mine, is to like go and actually produce or write the music in a different space. I'm
Yeah,
so used to like after work at
yeah.
like 7 a.m. running to the studios in Bridgeton, and like running up there and just trying to get as much done, and then trying not to stay too late, It's like all squeezed in between working, But I would love to go somewhere and just escape and do it without anything else on my mind. That'd be
Yeah, I
interesting.
guess that life is also there as well, and yeah, you're lucky if you could kind of do those things. And are you going to be playing live? I know when this goes out, we're recording it pre-recorded. I know you're playing in Byers Road, uh,
Yeah,
which is
Alchemy
a lovely,
Experiment.
yeah, it's a lovely space as well. But are there other plans to play live coming up?
Next week on the 8th of May, I'm supporting James Walsh from Star Sailor,
All right.
which I'm really looking forward to. That'll be like a solo set as well. That's the audio. If you fancy that, it's a Wednesday, but yeah, that never stopped people before.
No.
And I've got another show that, yeah, basically announcing that it's on the 30th of May in Edinburgh with my pals band, Abolish Golf. It's at
Oh,
Leaf
brilliant.
Depot. Yeah. So yeah, if you hate golf, you'll like them. But I don't
That
know if they actually hate golf.
are they a brand new band? I haven't heard of Abolish.
Yeah. Yeah, it's my friend Cameron and a few of his pals, yeah. And I've never played Leaf Depot, so I'm looking forward to that.
That's an
And playing with
excellent
them,
venue.
obviously.
That's a really good venue. Yeah. Oh, nice one. And is it just
Apart
going
from
to be
that,
you? Is it just going to be solo when you're playing these shows?
I think the first two will be solo, but I'm aiming to play with a band on the 30th of May, yeah. But yeah, I'm looking for more gigs, yeah, in the future. We'll see what comes up.
And you mentioned right at the beginning that there is new music to come. Have you any idea when that might come out? Are you still considering that?
I'm considering June or July. I'm hoping June, that'd be cool. But yeah, at first I've got a music video coming out for the song as well. I think it'll probably be released May. So yeah, looking forward to that. And then after that, I think new music, yeah.
And oh, great. And so the video people can find that over on YouTube and
Yeah, I'm working with my friend Stephen Grant. He's from Dundee, and Khaled is another sort of director and filmographer. And yeah, I'm looking forward to releasing that. It's kind of graveyard music video, black and white. Yeah.
and just before we finish up, are there other kind of Scottish acts that you've been listening to recently, or when you've been listening to new stuff?
Yeah. So I like the band Velvet, they're from Glasgow. I mean, I like a lot of bands. I'm not just naming bands I like, but yeah, I do
Yeah.
still mention School of Paris. They're from Dundee, like a post-punk kind of outfit. My good friend Peter Johnson,
Yep.
and yeah, out with yeah. No, I should probably just keep it to Scotland, right? Yeah.
For now, yeah. Uh, Joshua, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me, and all the very best with the new music.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
And this is Jeshua and Esther.